Afternoon, Sarah and everyone.
Afternoon, Ha.
Yeah.
Tiada, I don't think we know you. Are you in Thailand?
No, I'm in Ho Chi Minh City.
No, not Ha. Piada.
Actually, I'm in US, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, glad.
Portland.
In where?
Portland,
Portland.
Oregon.
Okay, good. Glad you could join us.
Thank you so much. กราบอาจารย์สุจินต์ค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์
ใครเอ่ย
เบียร์ค่ะอาจารย์
Okay, I think we can start. I think it's about time. And just at the beginning, while Carmen is showing your picture, you remember the message you put up a couple of weeks ago, and then you weren't here last week. So I'll just see if I can say a little more, and then you can say if it's not the answer. I think you asked a question about the chitta, which thinks about concepts, the consciousness which thinks about concepts. And you asked a question about whether it's as we know it conventionally, something like this. Was that correct?
Yes, it was about I don't know which discussion it was, but I asked something like, is the thinking as we know it, like planning or how the daily thinking, is that the Javana, is that in the Javana, is it chittas with a Javana function, trying to say it a little bit more correct? And then you responded like, yes, but not as we know it. And then my question, what do you mean with, but what if we don't know it? And something like that. And Jonathan also replied like, yes, in the thought process, the javanas, the chittas in the
Kusala or akusala chittas in the
yes,
Javana
exactly.
process. Yeah.
Yes, the reason I said not as we know it, because we're so used to when we talk about planning and thinking about different situations and different stories, we're thinking of a big whole. We're not thinking of it's not the understanding of chitta, one chitta at a time. It's an idea of a booking a holiday, a whole big story. It's nothing to do with the understanding of chittas one at a time. So what we think about conventionally when we have the idea of daily planning, it's not anything like what is meant by chitta, one chitta arising at a time, one kusala or akusala chitta at a time. So like now, thinking about the Zoom discussion, actually it's just one chitta at a time, experiencing its idea, not even in words, one at a time, before there's a long story about Zoom discussion. So now, after seeing or hearing, there are countless moments of thinking about the color, the shape, the form, this, that, long before there is the idea of something there or someone there. Different moments of wholesome and unwholesome chittas. So understanding about chittas which experience concepts is quite different from the idea we're used to. Just before we go on, I just want to ask Piada, are you familiar with the Pali terms, Piada?
Not so
Piada.
much, ma'am.
We'll try and translate as we go along and keep them simple. So we're talking about different moments of consciousness experiencing their object. So seeing is one moment of consciousness which experiences what is visible, and it's followed by many, many moments of thinking. We call these cittas, each moment of experiencing an idea of a color or shape or something there. Does that answer the question, Carmen?
Yes, for sure. But it's probably me just diving into much details, which is probably one of you is going to say, come back to the moment. But it is when I'm, how do you say, I'm trying to, I don't know, the mind is getting more interested in the detail of how exactly is it going, the me thinking in my job or something, but also even in the moving processes. I'm walking from A to B. How exactly is that going in all these sense door processes, mind door processes? Because it's and I know it's many moments, but still it's so interesting because there is rupa involved, and the nama is sort of orchestrating the rupa to do a thing, and then but it's so many moments, and but probably I'm diving into too much detail. But
the reason it's difficult and confusing is because we're so used to an idea of me, I thinking, I going to my job, I moving, I doing this. But actually, at each moment, there is just the moment of experiencing.
Exactly, yeah.
As you mentioned, the nama, the moment of consciousness and the mental factors arising together with it, and the physical phenomena, the rupas, that don't experience anything. So we're so used to taking it for whole, conventionally, I going to my job. But where is I? Where is the job? Where is the walking along? So we live in the world of the ideas because of not understanding what is true, what is real right now, such as seeing now, thinking now, just for a moment, and then gone.
Yeah, but I was not in that sense busy with the I in it, but I just now I'm busy with I, but I was just interested. How can you all these mind process, all these processes? How does it function in a way? If if this Nama Rupa walks to be.
What about now? Like now,
yes, exactly.
We would say conventionally we're looking at the screen, but actually it's just a moment of seeing, and then the seeing has gone, never to arise again. It's a moment of thinking now, thinking and then gone, never to arise again. So what we call walking, or what we call going to the job, are just the ideas. Actually, a moment of walking, there's just moments of thinking and different physical phenomena conditioned by the thinking. If there's no intention to move, to walk, then there's no what we call walking. So that's why we have to come back to understand what is now. If there's no understanding of seeing now, how can there be any understanding of what occurred when going to work or when walking? So it comes back to understanding what can be known. Otherwise, it's just thinking about the story, about the different processes and how it works.
For sure. But still, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just see if Ajahn or Jonathan would like to add more.
Is there any moment without citta? No.
No.
Even right now? No. But my understanding of it as is there at all, right? Yes. That's why we learn to understand that realities which arises in a day is hidden from understanding because of ignorance. Even we know that every moment there must be chitta, the reality, which is the chief of experiencing. Otherwise, there cannot be the world or anything at all, because nothing appears without chitta arising and experiencing that. But now it's there, see? But it does not appear there. It's not that which is seen, because it's that which sees all day, all night, from birth to death. No one think about it at all until having heard about the truth of each moment. It's there as a chief of experiencing. Is there any doubt about it now?
No.
I
This
think
is
these
the-
are questions for Carmen. Carmen, would you like to answer?
I'm okay. But yes, no.
That's why we learn about the process, and that which it's not the moment of procession and all. But what is there? It's not known yet. Only the story of it, the way it is. But it can be known. Otherwise, no understanding of whatever is there, because even chitta is there. Each moment is not known. That's why we come back or go back to consider more details, more subtlety of that which is there all the time from birth, but it's not known at all. Again and again and again, not to forget it, not to understanding it, that when it's that which arises and experience what is there each moment, no one at all. This is the beginning to have firm confidence of the truth, that what is heard, it's not it's not the moment of experiencing it yet, but just know what is it, when is it, and where is it, where is there all the time. That's why we learn a little bit more to be careful, considering whatever is there more wisely, carefully. It is the way to train not to be ignorant of what is appear as before. That's why the Buddha is the best trainer of teachings, from no understanding to begin to understand what is there, until it can realize what is there as it is, stage by stage, not from no hearing about it, no understand about it, and try so hard to know it. It's impossible. That's why now we talk again about the chief of experiencing, because it's there all the time, even right now. But there must be a moment when the object of that does not appear, even if there arising and experience the object. So we learn to understand what's meant by process, because at moment of the object does not appear, no process of citta to arise together in procession to understand what is there, or to experience only that, the nature of that which is there right now. The process is the moment when citta begins to arise to experience the object which impinges on the eye base and the moment of thinking. So there can be a little more understanding of what thinking is. When there's understanding, not forgetting, each moment there must be citta, the chief of experiencing. So even at moment of thinking, it's there as the chief all the time, from moment to moment, never change, experience that which is there, no matter through the sense door or to the mind door. It's there, no one at all. This is the way to understand how much ignorance of not knowing the truth of what is there from moment to moment, even right now. But there can be understanding from hearing the truth of it and consider carefully whether it's true or not. There must be a reality which does not remember or does not getting angry or whatever. It's that just arises to experience whatever is there, any moment. But when it's there, experience the object, but the object does not appear. It's not any process or any doorway, but it arises only one moment, performing its function to experience the object which is not known, and then there are conditions for it to arise to experience the object which is now appear. The difference between the moment of experiencing the object is there in life, moment of sleeping, moment of waking up, moment of drinking, moment of liking. Citta is there all the time. But citta is not the reality which remember or which feels. That's why we learn what are there in life from moment of birth to the end, death. They are all real, but the truth is hidden because no understanding of what is there as the chief to build up the idea of the world and thing and people and the war and everything. Citta is there until we learn to attend to the characteristic at any moment by condition, not by will, to know it, try to know it now or then. It's impossible because even right now, who makes seeing to arise? No one. So at moment of understanding, no one can make it arise, but it depends on conditions, how much understanding of the truth of what is there, little by little. So now, there must be citta at moment of thinking, what things or what is there, experience the object. It's the chief of experiencing, but there must be other support the citasikas to experience such object. Learn to understand conditions for every moment in life, that without it, nothing can arise at all. Little by little, no intention to understand this or that, but the understanding of the truth of what is there now, firmer and firmer, gradually, little by little, condition any moment of understanding at any time, unexpectedly, who knows, but it's there now. So now, when there is the understanding of what is there, even just a little, it's conditioned from hearing, considering again and again, a little more, until the moment of attending to the chief of experiencing, at moment of seeing, not the object, but of that which arises and experience, gradually, stage by stage, not from the very beginning, without understanding. How can it be there to be known? That's why now it's a moment of developing, training the clear or wise or careful a little more about what is there as we heard, the chief of experiencing many, many times, and it's now time to know that it's there. Even that it's there. It's not at the moment in life. Eating, going, doing, different moments by condition. But citta is there. After hearing, it can condition moment of thinking about it. Who knows? Right understanding is so very truthful. Today is a moment, any moment of thinking about that which experiences at moment of touching, at moment of seeing, at moment of thinking, any moment in life. Gradually, little by little, until the truth is there, experienced directly, clearer and clearer, stage by stage. From hearing again, consider again, thinking again, not forgetting again of what is there now. It's there, the chief of experiencing, which can be gradually appear to be known. But there must be right understanding, even if there no understanding of it. If there's no considering about the truth of it at moment of hearing again and again and again. That's why what we heard can be learned again a little more to develop firm confidence of the truth that is so very subtle. No one can make it arise, but it's there to be known with patience and viriya and satya and so on. Nekama, letting go of the other thing, which is not as important, it's not as useful, it's not as precious like the understanding of the truth of this moment. Any moment, any time from previous eons and eons and eons and future eons and eons and eons. Right understanding is the truth. It knows how much understanding of that which is now appearing. If not yet, can it be known? Patiently, without patience, without viriya, effort. How can it be known? So this moment is the development of training to be careful, to be truthful of what is there as it is, which has been heard, that the truth is the absolute truth, ultimate truth. No one can change, but only understanding can understand it from hearing, considering again and again and again. And the moment of understanding the subtlety of all dhammas, that is the moment of letting go, not the other moment at all. So what is there can we talk about to understand it gradually, little by little, about the different realities. Citta is not that which is attachment and so on. But whatever is there in the day, every day, all adhammas, that can be known gradually, little by little. Like now.
Just before we go on, I'd just like to ask Piada if you are able to follow, if you are able to understand what Ajahn and Carmen and I are talking about. For example, when we talk about citta. Are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
So Carmen, when you ask, you say you would like to know how it works. I understand, because you know there are just different namas, realities that experience objects, and rupas, realities which don't experience anything. So actually, each reality, no matter whether it is seeing or hearing or moment of thinking or what is seen, each one arises by its own particular conditions. So how it works is actually understanding a reality like seeing, how it is conditioned to arise without a visible object impinging on eye sense. There cannot be a moment of seeing. Without seeing, there cannot be thinking about what is seen. Without memory arising each moment, marking what is seen, what is heard, there cannot be thinking about the object. And without memory, there cannot be thinking about walking. There cannot be the intention to move. So that's why we have to come back to talking about different realities to understand how it works, as you mentioned, because the idea of thinking about my job depends on the countless moments of seeing, countless moments of hearing, countless moments of touching, countless moments of thinking about what is seen, what is heard, what is thought about, each one conditioned in so many ways. So why is there an idea of someone here? It's because of what has been seen and heard and thought about with ignorance and memory again and again and again.
Yes, but in these processes, you can see the profoundness you know, how subtle everything is, and how and also the conditioning. I'm really interested in it's so, you know, in one short little moment, so much comes together, and yeah, that's where my I don't know,
And
it's
that's
just sorry.
coming together for this moment of experiencing, for this chitta to arise. There has to be the coming together, the meeting of what is seen, the eye sense, the seeing, the different mental factors that accompany it, each performing their function. All those realities have to come together to meet in order for just one moment of seeing, one chitta to arise. And yet there's one chitta after another throughout life, each arising, performing its function. So it's impossible to say, oh, how does it work that there is the idea of going to work? Because actually we have to look at how each reality arises in complex ways. Why is there the thinking of that subject rather than another subject? Again, by the condition, by the habit, by the tendency. You think of work, someone else thinks of something else, according to habits and tendencies that have been accumulated, different from the way that seeing is conditioned by karma, for example. So it's actually only by understanding reality now that the conditioned nature of that reality can be understood a little more, a little more. It all comes back to understanding what is now, what is appearing now. If there's no understanding that it's only hardness touched, if one thinks there's a table touched, then it's impossible to understand about a conditioned nature of reality because one's thinking about the table. But by understanding it's just hardness, then there can gradually be a little more understanding of what hardness is and how it is conditioned to arise now.
Thank you. And in the end, of course, it's only me thinking about these things in the present moment.
And understanding the thinking now, because it's real, it's actually more precious than working out all the stories, because then again, it's a long story about processes and details, but what about just understanding thinking now, just the reality which arises and is gone, not my thinking at all, arising by conditions, by habit, and then gone. Otherwise, there's clinging on to the thinking all the time. As you say, it's very subtle, but it comes back to what appears now, such as thinking. I just want to, I think Nina was going to bring up a topic at the beginning. Nina, do you have a topic you would like to bring up in case you have to go out for your home help? Do you have a question or topic you'd like to bring up?
Yes, certainly. I was so impressed last time that Ajahn explained that even a pleasant situation can make us drunk, and it's dangerous because of ignorance and clinging. And this was a remark to Jyotika, but it was so useful to all of us as a reminder. And that's what I wanted to say.
Yes, that's why I wrote about it. And I didn't have time. I never have time to listen to the Zooms again, but I just write after my notes from the discussion, I just wrote my own summary about the topic, because I think it's also very useful. Usually, like you say, we're drunk with clinging to pleasant experiences, not realizing they're so dangerous. Everyone realizes that when there's a lot of misery and unhappiness, it's dukkha. But what about when it's so pleasant? Because for sure the unpleasant will follow. And there's the constant hoping and wishing for the pleasant. instead of just accepting what is conditioned at this very moment.
Yes, that's
So
what.
drunk with desire for pleasant experiences.
Yeah. And about
And I think
hopelessness. It was so good what Ajahn explained to Jyotika, and for all of us, really.
and we feel so, it seems so hopeless or helpless when we cannot help those who are struggling or in difficulty, but we forget that what is most useful in life is understanding, no matter what the circumstances and whether there's pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling now. It's by conditions, whether there's wholesome result, kusala vipaka, or unwholesome result, akusala vipaka now. It's by conditions. The causes are already there. It cannot be any other way. So learning to understand and accept what appears now, what is conditioned now, is the way to help others as well, no matter the circumstances.
And that Dhamma is the best medicine. I like that very much.
I remember in the very early years, in the 1970s, sometime when I was staying with Ajahn, and there were a lot of Vietnamese refugees on the borders in Thailand, and I was saying, oh, I thought perhaps I should go and help rather than sitting around discussing the Dhamma. And Ajahn said to me, Kunsera, understanding, seeing now, understanding, hearing now is more precious than any of your ideas about going here or going there or doing this or doing that. And
yes,
it had quite an effect. It has to come back to this moment, to the understanding now.
That for reserving where to stay overnight, and then you had trouble because people said no, it's taken already, and no room for you. And then she said to you, it's the seeing now. And I like that very much as a reminder.
Because like Carmen just said, oh, it's actually just thinking now, no matter whether it's thinking about the refugees or thinking about the room or thinking about the processes of jittas. What about just understanding, thinking at this moment? The problem is actually not the room or the refugees or not working out the story. The problem is the thinking now with ignorance, the clinging now, trying to get the story straight. But what about just understanding what appears at this moment? Because there's no problem then. It never hurts, it never harms. There's no disturbance at moments of understanding.
Yes, yeah. And that we should be ready to accept that. Because like my example with my father, all the problems I had all the time, and I was not ready yet to understand that it is the moment of thinking only. That took a long time for me. And that's why I found it such a good reminder, all her remarks to Jyotika, because we are all inclined to do that, to think of the story.
We think the problem is my father, my family, the situation in Israel, the situation in Gaza. But the problem is just the thinking at this moment with clinging, the ignorance now, the taking it all for I and something and someone, not understanding that in truth there is no father, there is no Israel, just thinking of different ideas because of seeing, hearing, touching now. So it's very sobering to just understand life as it is at this moment. The opposite of being drunk on pleasant feeling and clinging to this and that, including our different stories.
Then Ajahn explained what is the real dukkha. Even the pleasant situation is the dukkha. I found that very revealing and helpful.
Even right now, the pleasant feeling now, enjoying oneself at this moment, the happiness now, it's dukkha, very dukkha. And it
Yeah.
doesn't last. Gazita, you also appreciated this topic. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you, Sarah. You were mentioning about in the Vietnamese discussion about the three gochara. This one, it was a very deep topic, and you can perhaps help me in further understanding them. I was thinking about this araka gochara, this preventing from the defilement from arising. That is, but is it also similar to one guarding? Guarding?
Yes, it is. It is really a protection, like guarding. So when understanding begins to develop, when it becomes firmer, it guards, especially against wrong understanding, taking Israel or my father as something existing. There's more understanding that actually there are just these different dhammas arising and falling away. Each one is very unsatisfactory. And there's a little more guarding from wrong understanding and the usual strong, very strong clinging that leads to harmful behavior. So as understanding develops, there is more protection, there is more guarding, and it leads to the direct understanding, the panibandha.
Yeah, and then there's another one. Yeah, and then there's also another one in Satipatthana, in Dhammanupassana. That means that is the five aggregates. That is the one that is causing this cleaning, and that is the one that we have to guard. In this, am I correct in my understanding?
Yes, but can you or anyone do the guarding?
No,
or
no.
What guards?
Yes, no.
Or what guards?
Yeah, we cannot do this guarding, but
no.
These are the prevent them from this hindrance from arising. That is the meaning of this gochara. Am I correct?
So it is the understanding with awareness. It is the awareness that guards the understanding which understands. So the different wholesome cetasikas perform their functions. The leader is understanding, but it has to arise with sati, which guards. So by conditions, when understanding develops, our awareness develops with it, and there is more and more guarding, but by conditions only, not by I or you guarding or doing anything. This is the main point. And you mentioned about the khandhas. So any conditioned reality is a khandha, like the visible object that's seen now is a khandha. It arises and falls away. And usually it's the object of clinging straight away, even before there is any thinking about the object in words, even in the sense store process, there's still clinging arising. So it depends on conditions whether there is guarding at any moment. But not anyone who can do anything. So understanding has to just work its way naturally, not by hoping or expecting or wishing or thinking there should be less akusala at all. That's not the way. It has to just develop very naturally, not I who can do anything about it. but
Yes,
hearing,
thank you.
considering, discussing more about realities in order
Yes,
to
yes.
understand there is no job, no husband, no father, no refugee. There are just the different realities. It's a way that gradually understanding develops, and there's a little more letting go of the idea of I or something there.
Yeah. Yes, this Gochara, this Tri Gochara needs it's a deep topic and deep consideration and perhaps a little understanding of it. But thank you, Sarah, so much.
If you didn't see the messages I wrote on Dhamma study group, have a look, Sita, because I wrote
Okay.
some Zoom topics there.
Okay, thank you.
And Ajahn also said naturally and cheerfully. So no one can do anything is a reason to be happy and not depressed or discouraged.
I agree. Nothing to be done. Just let it work its way. It doesn't
Naturally,
need to be a burden at all.
yeah, no burden, no burden. That's what I like very much.
And Sita, on the subject of Gochara, I know it's a little bit puzzling to understand, but it's not really introducing anything new for us to know about. It's just a different way of describing realities, the ones that we're already familiar with. It's a different way of talking about understanding and what is to be the object of understanding and the importance of knowing that. So the three Gocharas just do refer to ascending levels of understanding, the ones we know about already, but it's a different way of approaching, of describing it. So just want to mention that in case you think you're missing out something by not being able to fully grasp the Gochara.
Is it the similar with this arising and falling away, what we call it as nimitta? Am I correct? The arising and falling away from phenomena.
Well, everything we talk about
with
is
the
about the arising and falling away phenomena. But in the discussions that we have, we realize it's important that it's necessary to know what can be the object of understanding, because there can't be understanding of a computer, for example, or a table, because that is not a reality that has its own characteristic.
Yeah.
And so one of the Gocharas refers to, all of the three Gocharas refer to things that are to be the object of understanding.
Okay.
And when understanding is developed to a certain level, then it is a protection. It is Araka Gochara.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
yeah, right.
And then it leads to Upanibandha Gochara, the enlightenment, or Vipassana jnanas, so that it's Vipassana very far developed, and enlightenment is Upanibandha Gochara, the last one of the three.
Thank you, Nina.
Also, this might be a bit redundant or obvious, but sometimes it's good to say it. Is that the reason why table or computer or tree and so on can't be understood is because those are all concepts. However, rupa or the characteristic temperature or hardness, these are realities that can be understood. Thank you kindly.
Yes, each of those has a characteristic by which it can be known, a single and identifying characteristic, whereas table doesn't. Table is an assemblage of different bits of material of some kind or another, but it doesn't have existence in any absolute sense, because a table can be destroyed, broken down. But hardness, for example, it is something that can be directly experienced and known by its characteristic. Is that what you're asking about? Eve?
No, I was simply just adding, it was obvious from what you had commented earlier that tree and computer can't be understood. I was just offering that to Sita, the group, what have you. I don't have a specific question as of now in that regard. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that comment. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you kindly.
While you're there, Eve, I think at the end of one of the other discussions, you were starting to ask a question, and I said, oh, please wait and ask in the English discussion. Do you remember what it was you were wishing to ask about?
Yes, ironically, I was not able to attend the Zoom that day. I had a doctor's appointment, which went well. But the week previous to that, I believe it was the last live session for the time being at the center, and dukkha, the nature, its characteristic suffering came up, and it is a different, well, it's always a good topic, but there was a discussion, not the week that I could not attend, but the following week, where Tanajan and others had a bit of a discussion on dukkha, suffering. So I can put that forth as a topic, if that's all right with the group, if people have covered what they wanted to discuss.
What is your question about dukkha, Eve?
Actually, I had made a comment on the impermanence and of things and of realities, and that all dhammas arise and fall away with such rapidity by conditions. And in a sense, it's a relief. I don't know quite how to phrase it, the poverty of language, and I don't think I'm very good at it. I don't think I have the words to ask the right questions, but is that it's falling away is not suffering, but in a sense freeing. And why cling to that which is gone? And it has sort of come up because I got word today from a friend of another friend of ours who returned back to UK from Thailand, and he's gone, he's passed. So that's the topic, the way I've been considering a bit on suffering, the characteristic of it, its nature.
Well, I think as you said, and like Nina mentioned, whatever arises and falls away is dukkha. Even the pleasant feeling is very dukkha because it's gone, but usually there's clinging to what has gone and there's grief that follows. And of course, unpleasant feeling is bound to follow, but actually not just the unpleasant feeling, but the pleasant feeling, any conditioned reality falls away and is therefore dukkha and dangerous because it is usually the object of clinging again and again. And as you suggest, if there is understanding of what is conditioned, leading to the understanding of the arising and falling away of what is conditioned, then it is freeing. But without understanding what appears now, there cannot be the understanding of the arising and falling away of that reality which appears now. So it comes back to this moment. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add comments to any of these topics that have been discussed in the last few minutes.
The God is not there at moment of akusala, right? The God, the
I think
Araka.
this, yes, I think this is for Sita. Sita, perhaps you can answer.
When we talk about the Araka Kojara, we understand that without understanding the words of the Buddha about the truth, there will never be the God to the level of understanding what is there as it is. That's why even there is the understanding of the truth, is it enough for the God to arise to be there anytime? That's why when there is the understanding of the truth, little by little, the God is there at moment of understanding and any moment of kusala, understanding the danger of even to be intoxicated to the kusala moment or present moment or any moment at all. That's why we learn about everyday life to understand what is there as not self at all. But what about the idea of something from eons and eons has been accumulated strong enough not to have any understanding to that level of what is there now? That's why we learn to understand that even the God is the moment of understanding what is there, little by little as it is, because all depends on the Kodra, the Upanishad Kodra, without hearing again and again and again. How can there be the moment of guarding from akusala at moment of seeing or hearing, smelling, tasting, touching? That's why the understanding of the truth about different realities, different objects, different meanings of different words from the teachings can be the God little by little, more or less, depending on conditions. That's why in the day, lots of akusala from moment to moment, whereas the God, only the understanding can condition moment of kusala gradually, and the God is there by understanding. Otherwise, how come, who can have the sati of the God not to be akusala at moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching? That's why we learn about the truth in life each moment. Otherwise, there cannot be the understanding of any reality right now as it is. But the accumulation of akusala and attachment and ignorance, so very enormous. That's why we learn to understand. When there's no understanding, there must be ignorance. What is there now? Not as it is. That's why have confidence of the truth, that since it's there, it can be known. So the understanding only that which is there now appearing. When it does not appear, how can there be moment of understanding that which does not appear? Because it's not there. But when it's there, it's the only time to talk about it, to consider it, to begin to understand the truth of it. Each word has to be again and again, from the beginning and then back to the beginning, and then from the beginning on and back to have clear understanding of each word. And this is the only way to be truthful to the truth, because is there any understanding of what it says now? Not yet, or a little more, or begin to think about it. That's why we have to have discussion to understand the truth of what is there. Again, even we have talked about it many times or many years, but it's there again and again and again. It is so very, very slight understanding of what is there. And that is God. The God is there guarding from no understanding or ignorance or attachment or clinging. Little by little. Right.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Parami.
Thank you, Ajahn. Tanajan. Thank you.
Yes.
So now there can be a little more thinking about the three culture.
Thank you, Ajahn.
And Nina, I think any direct understanding, any moments of satipatthana is upani bandha kutra, not just vipassana jnana and enlightenment. So when there is the development of the Upanisya Gochara, the Pariyati and the guarding, because the understanding becomes firmer and firmer, it conditions the direct understanding. But Ajahn will correct me if I'm not, if it's not right, but that's what I understand.
Without the understanding of the three culture, can it be any of the three? Without hearing the word of teaching, without considering it again and again, can there be upanisya condition? That's why even right now, the understanding of the truth again and again is the upanisya culture begin to have such object instead of being attached or aversion or whatever as before to the object which appears in the day. Very gradually, very truthfully, very patient to understand that the truth is so very subtle, and it depends on understanding a little more, which can condition a little clear understanding, but it's not clear as the moment of the higher level. Now we talk about seeing, but it's not the patipati yet, but it begins to lead to understanding that which is there in life every day, to be a little object of understanding, not as it's not known at all from birth to death. And this is parami. So we can understand the Satya Bharami, the truth cannot be changed. And it can be understood, it can be realized, it can be letting go ignorance and all kinds of akusala little by little in daily life by the condition of understanding what is there, wholesome or unwholesome, what is the most precious reality, understanding that which is there, little by little. Without a little at the beginning, how can there be a little more later until it's so great? It's like miracle because it can let go the idea of wrong understanding and the clean gradually, very gradually in daily life is that which can be known. Whether how much is there accumulated at moment of hearing bad words, what about moment of hearing? Is there any patience not to get angry or irritated and so on? And this is the result of the cause, understanding what is there as it is, little by little. Whatever is there can be understood, but it's so subtle. That's why it has to be truthfulness, very sincerely honest, very honest to understand the truth. What level is there? But it's firmer, a little more, a little more. At moment of hearing, considering, until it can condition, instead of thinking about such sensuous object through the sensor, it can be moment of beginning to pop up, thinking about it, understanding it, just one moment or two moments, not so many moments, but it's so worthy because it conditioned, it is accumulated from moment to moment of understanding the truth, because the right understanding of the truth is there now, but it's not known as it is until hearing and considering the truth of it to be firm understanding, upanisya kochara, understanding that it is different from other object which does not condition any understanding at all. Just talking about the situation, what happens in the world, cannot condition the understanding of the truth of that very moment. So it is not upanisya kochara to realize the truth. It's not the word of the Buddha, not to understand what is there, but the word of the Buddha, just condition, kusala moment of all kinds, which follow panya, right understanding of the truth. Otherwise, without panya, how can it be known that it's useless to think about the garbage of that which is worthless at all? It doesn't bring any understanding. It doesn't bring any kindness or condition to share or to help the other to understand at all, but to have more greed and hatred and on and on. That's why panya alone can understand what is there as it truly is. So just live to understand Dhamma and to share it with the others. The best thing in life, upanisya kochara, at that moment of kusala, it guard araka, not having a kusala getting closer or near at all, because it's there as a guard.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Until it becomes upanibandha, more reading, thinking, considering about what is there. Even a little more from before is so very worthy, very precious. rather
Thank
than any kind of wealth. Pity.
Yeah.
No fear of anything, because it's not me or anyone, it's the way our dharmas are conditioned to be. No fear of death, because it's so close. It can be right now as seeing and hearing, but seeing and hearing have many moments of citta in between, but the moment of death and birth, no gap at all, just instantly. Who knows? Because now, even from seeing to hearing, it's not known. While there are so many moments of citta in between, but nothing is in between moment of birth and death and birth at all. No one knows. It can be this moment or any time. Just be understanding person with understanding the truth. Otherwise, how can there be understanding person when there's no understanding of the truth at all?
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you so much.
So we can talk about whatever Buddha taught in daily life right now, because there can be a little more understanding of the realities, letting go the idea of self by itself, little by little.
So I like to return to Sarah's question to me, because you asked me, Sarah, something about sati and satipatthana.
Regard different levels of guardians.
Guarding Araka, Gojara.
There cannot be only just one small, not strong enough, and the one which is so strong, different ones, by different conditions, even it's a guardian.
I did not follow this question, Ajahn.
So at moment of doing kusala without right understanding, the guard is there, guarding from akusala.
Yeah.
But when there is a little more understanding, even its moment of just liking, very, very little, very, very slight, the God is there to understand it as it is, right?
That's right, yeah.
That's why we learn about sati. It's not panya, it's not manasikara, but without those reality as conditions, panya cannot arise by itself.
Panya needs sati also to be direct understanding.
Each Dhamma also support the others, because the kusala cetasika support the other kusala cetasikas, and the akusala cetasikas also support the other akusala cetasikas, like avijja, see, condition, attachment.
And I think the point was when the understanding develops stronger and there's more guarding, and when it is the direct understanding of reality, because of the development of the Upanishya Gotra and the Araka Gotra, it is the Upanibandha Gotra. So it's a direct understanding. The protection is even stronger, the guarding is stronger. So the understanding has to be supported by sati of satipatthana and other wholesome mental factors.
Yeah.
To directly understand what appears, guarding from wrong understanding and ignorance and akusala of all kinds at those moments of direct understanding. But without the hearing and considering and knowing what are the realities, there cannot even be the development of the Upanishya Gochara. So that's why there has to be the understanding, the hearing, considering again and again for any understanding to develop. Beginning with the Upanishya Gochara, getting more and more used to the right object to be understood, whilst we think of a situation to be understood, such as going to the office or walking here or coming to a Zoom discussion or listening to the Dhamma in a conventional way. It's not the Upanishya Gochara, which has to be the habitual understanding of a reality, any reality as taught by the Buddha.
So Upanishya Gochara is already a beginning of direct understanding. Is that right?
Not yet direct understanding. It's pariyatti understanding. It's the understanding of a reality intellectually that has to get firmer and firmer, more and more used to the object. Like sound now, no one there, just sound that is heard. So there's more and more confidence that it's only sound heard. More wise considering, getting closer to the reality itself, that it's just sound heard, nothing else in the world, just sound at this moment of hearing. So it is the Upanishya Gochara that develops by getting more and more used to what can be understood, which isn't a situation or details that we've read about, but the reality that appears at this moment. Like we were discussing with Carmen, we can think about all the details, but what about the understanding of thinking? Understanding of thinking, getting used to the chitta which thinks at this moment again and again. This is Upanishya Gochara. It's understanding of what can be understood, what is understood now, but it's not the direct understanding yet.
So it's more than what we usually think of intellectual understanding. It's more because it concerns the present moment.
Yes, and actually pariyatti understanding concerns the present moment. So it is pariyatti understanding which is getting more and more used to the reality that appears now. Often when people refer to intellectual understanding, they may refer to reading the Dhamma in the book, they may refer to remembering how many rupas there are, but this is not the pariyatti understanding or the Upanishya Gochara, which is the understanding of what is true, what is real, what appears now.
This is a very important point, yes.
And all three Gochara go together, develop together from the beginning stage to the end.
I have to think of that, Ajahn. I did not quite follow this.
For example, when there is the understanding of what is there that can be known, at that moment, no akusala, right? So Araka Gochara is there at level of understanding. And Upanibandha, it begins to be frequently there by conditions of the Gochara and the Araka. Upanibandha, not forgetting, not just like thinking all about the sense object as before, but there can be time to condition moment of being Araka because of the Upanishya of understanding And at that moment, it begins to condition more frequent moment to understand it or to have it arise at any time in life unexpectedly. It can be at moment of reading, moment of hearing, or moment of liking anytime. That is the understanding of the anatta-ness. The most important thing is all dhammas are anatta, no one there at all. So understanding what conditions such moment of beginning suddenly pop up, thinking about what is heard, that is then now hardness can be object of understanding or realize the Ariya Satya, the noble truth, because it's there, arising and falling away. No expectation for what would be object of understanding, of thinking, of considering, of whatever, anytime. And this is the understanding of the truth more and more about anatta. Understanding all dhammas as no one and no thing. We don't have to say that is it you or is it someone or something? But the moment of understanding itself begin to have firm confidence, uppa nisaya, firmer, and araka, more time for kusala to arise because it araka from akusala, and upanidana, it becomes habit. Nothing about other things than the teachings, the word of the truth about this and that which has been heard or read about more carefully, more wiser and wisely.
So, Upanishad happens when, Ajahn?
Sorry, please again.
That
What did you say?
Now, can you repeat it? We didn't hear you.
Also, can the three can the three Kojara be separated?
so, Ajahn, you speak often about popping up, so that is a very good expression.
Because now it pops up anytime. Every time after one has fallen away, the other pops up. But it's not clear to be known as it popping up at all. Because right understanding is not enough. Because no understanding of what is there now, which is as it is, not self. For example, we talk about seeing, we talk about hearing. See, arising and falling away. What's the meaning of it? One has fallen, the other pops up. But the popping up does not appear. So no thought about the moment of its popping up, because what is there now does not show up as it is, as seeing falls away and the other moment arises. But there are so many moments in between, seeing and hearing. So what is there that can be known? No matter in what life, in what world, there must be only 6 doorways. The nimitta of that which is the reality, which experience the object, while there is seeing, and then sampatitsana, and then sandhya, and so on. But they do not appear. What appears is that which experience the object. That's why even the characteristic of the reality which arises and experience only is not known yet. It doesn't matter whether it is attachment, aversion, or the citta, or sanya, or vedana, and so on. It's there as that which experiences the object by different characteristic and different function. That's why even attachment is there appearing, liking so much, or aversion is there, irritation and so on, but no understanding that before it arises, it does not arise, it's not there to be known, and then it pops up by condition. So only when right understanding is strong enough at level of vipassana jnana, the popping up can be realized. by way of nimitta. See, the truth cannot be changed. It's now popping up, but the popping up does not appear as the characteristic of that which arises, experience of the object does not appear, as it is the reality, which is the reality which experiences the object by different ways or manners or characteristic of function. The difference between the citta and the cetasikas, the sanya and the feeling,
And earlier, Nina, when Ajahn mentioned about how the three gotras develop together from beginning to end, and I think you asked what was meant. So the object of Upanishya Gotra is just the same as the object of Upanibandha Gotra or Araka Gotra. So it's always the reality, the nimitta of reality that is the object, no matter whether it's the Upanishya Gotra, Pariyati level, or no matter whether it's at the moment of Araka Gotra or the direct understanding, the Upanibandha Gotra, it's always the same object. It's not anything different because the understanding develops. It's just that the understanding develops to become firmer and firmer to understand what appears better and better until it is the direct understanding of the nimitta of the reality itself. And even then, it has to continue developing on and on to become clearer and clearer and so on.
Thank you, Pia.
We don't have much time left. Does anyone else have anything they would like to ask about? Zita, Alberto, Gabby, anyone?
I was just adding something about what Carmen was saying at the beginning about all these different realities arising and falling away so very quickly, and we not but not trying to realizing the falling away of any one of them because of the speed of the processes are so fast, which don't allow to don't allow the single process to be detected, and that's why in the teachings there is the word nimitta, because it's the reality which appears as nimitta, which can be known. It's the reality which is not what it looks like when it doesn't fall away. It looks like something, but it's not it doesn't look as it is, even it is because of because of the rapidity of the rising and falling away. But there is still the reality, which can be known as reality, even if it's not rising and falling away one by one, and it can be still be known as nimitta, as a reality, but as nimitta, not as a single reality, which is impossible, which is not possible to be known because of not so short. It's unimaginable, the rapidity of the rising and falling away. I'm not sure if I think it's important point about the nimitta to let go a little bit about all the speculations about the reality arising and falling away, and how is it possible for being so fast or being so rapid in the rising and falling away. I'm not sure if it makes any sense, but maybe Ajahn can speak a little bit more about nimitta and the way that realities look like to understanding. I don't know. Thanks.
Alberto, that's a query I've had in the past. You know, how do we know that nimitta is the exact copy of the reality? And I guess it just has to come with the confidence that the truth is really difficult, and that with growing understanding, no, those realities aren't known, but that the nimitta is the exact copy of a reality.
And it's the characteristic of the reality that appears, like Alberto says, impossible to directly understand one visible object. It's always the characteristic which is known by way of nimitta.
Okay.
Yes, otherwise, without knowing about the nimitta of the characteristic, we talk about understanding the reality. It's like a shorthand, but actually it's always the nimitta, and it's always the nimitta of the characteristic of that reality.
Right. Okay, yes. That's
so
great.
we don't have to be concerned about how the speed of which processes arise and fall away, because it's still the characteristic of the reality that appears and can be known. But this is why, as Alberto explained, it has to be nimitta, not the reality itself. I don't know if Carmen is still there, if that helps at all, Carmen.
I'm still there, and I have to listen to it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I have to listen to it again to
okay, then we only have a few.
About it.
Okay, we just have a few moments. Let's see if Ajahn has anything she would like to add or finish off with today.
Shall we think about this? What is that scene? To understand the meaning of nimitta. What is that always seen at moment of seeing?
It's visible object that
Really?
at the moment of seeing, is it not visible object?
Yes, but is it visible object which appears?
It's
Or
the
it appears
nimitta of,
as something.
yes.
That's right. How can there be the understanding of only that which appears at moment of seeing, if it's not that which arises just in a moment, only one moment now? That's right. What is the meaning of Panyati or nimitta? See, what reality has no nimitta? To understand what nimitta is.
Nibbana is the only reality which has no nimitta.
Why not?
Because it doesn't arise and it doesn't fall away.
Can this be the answer of what appears is nimitta? The succession from moment to moment, experiencing that which is seen. Because even Sampatijana cannot see, Santira cannot see, the other reality, the other citta cannot see at all, only that one. The reality which arises just to see, experiencing the object which is there and falls away. But before it falls away, it's there for other citta to experience it, but they cannot perform the function of seeing. That's why what appears now, is it the nimitta of Sampatijana Santirana? Not at all, right? So
No,
understanding what appears is nimitta, is it right? Whatever appears, it appears as nimitta. Without one dot, there can be that which now appear. How many dots of color experience to be known as flower, rose, or leaf?
I think it's uncountable.
That's why we learn to understand the truth. What appears by way of nimitta, as nimitta. And what is experienced more through the sense door or the mind door.
Through this, it's the nimitta that's experienced.
Through the mind door, right?
Through the mind door to start with, and then it's the mind door.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Achan, go ahead.
Just one process of sense door, many moments of mind door. So what appears really in truth? What appears?
In truth, well, it feels like, well, there's still nimitta, but it feels like there's objects. Through the mind door, there's a lot of thinking about what was seen, what was heard, and we come up with stories, all sorts of stories about.
So in a day, what process arises more? Mind door or sense door?
It's mind door.
That's why what appears is nimitta, right? Not just one moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching.
Right. Yes, Ajahn.
So it's time now.
Yes.
Sawadee ka, Ajahn. We can continue next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Sarah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you so much.
อนุโมทนาค่ะคุณสราคุณจนทาน